We're going to work through example 3 from your lesson 6 in this video. And example 3 states that a farmer wishes to apply 2,4-D at 0.25 pounds acid equivalent per acre. Acid equivalent, which we'll discuss later in class, is basically a different way of stating active ingredient for weak acid herbicides. So you can think of the acid equivalent as being active ingredient for this example. Okay, so the problem also tells us that Saber herbicide, if we look through the label, Saber herbicide contains 3.8 pounds of 2,4-D acid equivalent per gallon of product. Okay, so those are the two things that we know. And what we need to know is how many pints of product should be applied per acre. So we want to actually get this into pints of product for making a recommendation for someone who will be using this product in a form that's a little bit easier to understand than gallons per acre. So if we start off again with what we know and work toward what we need to know, one of the first things that we know is in this very first line that what we wish to apply is 2,4-D at 1/4 pound of acid equivalent per acre. So if we just state that in ratio format, we know that we want to apply 0.25 pounds of acid equivalent per acre, so for every 1 acre. So that's something we know. And then we're going to draw our multiplication sign. And then we also know that Saber herbicide contains 3.8 pounds of acid equivalent per gallon of product. And so we're going to write another ratio for that particular line. And because we already have pounds of AE and pounds of AE in both of these statements, we're going to set this up so that those two units cancel out. And so because pounds AE is in the numerator in the first ratio, we're going to set it in the denominator of the second ratio. So 3.8 pounds of acid equivalent of 2,4-D in each gallon of Saber herbicide. So again, what that allows us to do is to take pounds of acid equivalent, which are now 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator, which allows us to cancel those units out because this basically cancels out that. So what we're left with is gallons of Saber per acre. Now that's not what we want. The question is asking how many pints of product should be applied per acre. And we can do that by adding one more step to do the unit conversion from pints or from gallons to pints. And so again, because gallons is in the numerator in our second step, then we want to say that 1 gallon of Saber is equivalent to 8 pints of Saber. Okay, so once again, 1 gallon of Saber in the denominator, 1 gallon of Saber in the numerator. Those cancel out, and so what we're left with, if we look at the units left, so the pounds per acid equivalent is canceled out, gallons of Saber is canceled out. So these are the units that are left in the numerator. And again, if we look at the denominator, gallons is canceled out, pounds of acid equivalent is canceled out, and acres are the units in the denominator. So if we multiply this through, we're going to get pints of Saber per acre, and that is exactly what we're looking to get. Pints of product should be applied per acre. So if we actually do that, so 0.25 times 8 equals 2. Sorry about that. Equals 2 divided by 1 times 3.8 times 1 is 3.8. So 2 divided by 3.8 equals 0.526, and we can round that to 0.53. And again, really critical to make sure we specify the units of pints of Saber per acre. So pints of Saber herbicide per acre.